What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time, and helping me talk about all things glorious and movies and everything. I feel like I usually have a longer intro before I introduce my guests. Let me pull my screen down. Ladies and gentlemen, returning, I think this is his second or third time. I want to say second. He's so wonderful to talk to. I've lost track of how many times he helps me talk about movies. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a very good friend of mine, improviser, writer, comedian, Mr. Rolland Lopez.
Hey, thank you for bringing me back. Second time, super excited.
Rolland, you are just a joy in my life. You are a bright spot in my day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thanks for just, I mean, because you live in Los Angeles, you're on the West Coast.
Yep. Yeah.
You've traveled a long way. You're literally time traveling right now. I don't know if you realize this.
What's the future like? Is it nice? Do we have flying cars?
Well,
is there a vaccine available readily for everyone?
Yes.
Good.
Well, there is in the UK. Rolland, thank you so much for being here and taking some time out of your busy day and just talk about all things crazy and silly and ridiculous. And you guys, before we get into all the crazy, silly, and ridiculous things, first, I got to tell you how to subscribe on YouTube. Go over, this is joys of doing a live show, you guys. Joys of doing a live show. If you haven't already, head over to youtube.com, type in Gotta Love Them Movies. You're going to see a little red box in the top right hand corner that says subscribe. Go ahead and click on that button. What clicking on that button does is helps us to widen our subscriber base. And yes, I understand. You're probably watching this on Facebook Live right now. But here's the thing. With the more subscribers we get, the more watch content the channel gets. And with the more watch content the channel gets, I get to earn ad revenue, making the show my full-time job. So I very much appreciate you helping and supporting the channel, going over and clicking that subscribe button. And of course, as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, this live show will be moving from Facebook to YouTube. So just something to keep on your radar there. All right, guys, we have a lot of movie news and related news to talk about today. So let's jump right in with all of that glorious, glorious, glorious movie news.
What? What?
All right, you guys, like I said, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And so last night I was researching articles. I was looking at this, I was looking at that, and there were like some major news bombs dropped, of which we're going to talk about. Some minor news bombs dropped, of which we're going to talk about. But I have to start, oh my dear heavens, I have to start with a news article that I found literally 30 minutes before the show started. So 30 minutes ago, I was just scrolling through Facebook, had a little extra time, and I happened upon this article that came out on Monday. This is weird. This is so weird. Mario Lopez is starring as Colonel Sanders in the Lifetime original movie Recipe for Seduction. Wow. So again, like I said, I was just scrolling through Facebook, had a little extra time before the show started, and I saw this and I'm like, no, this isn't real. And then I watched the trailer. It's like a minute 13 or like minute and a half or something like that. It's a pretty short trailer. So I started watching the trailer and I thought, no, this is a fan-made thing. Like, the production value is so low. The concept is so stupid. It's so crazy. And I've just figured, okay, well, it looks like Mario Lopez is in this, but maybe it's just kind of like a Sharknado kind of a thing where, or maybe like somebody on YouTube was like, hey, let's do this stupid little, let's make a trailer. Let's get some friends together. Let's make a stupid little trailer. No, you guys, this is real. Lifetime, like, this is an actual thing. Lifetime tweeted this out on Monday. They tweeted the poster and they tweeted the trailer. And this movie drops on Lifetime. It's a mini movie. It's not a full-length movie. It's a mini movie, so it's probably going to be around 45 minutes long. So, like, with commercials, it'll fill up the hour block of time there. But what? Rolland, I I texted you. I literally texted you. Drop what you're doing and watch this trailer. I think you were just getting ready to get in the shower. Drop what you're doing. Watch this trailer. What are your reactions? This is nuts.
So I saw the post on Facebook. I saw people posting it, and I saw the poster and everything, and I thought, who asked for this? And no one wants this. This is dumb as hell. But today, because you sent it to me, I watched the trailer, and I think Lifetime is a genius. They're gonna be. I don't know if they're gonna get. I don't know how they get their money, but if it was by views, they're gonna make a bank. They're gonna make bank out of this, like a fortune, because it is so ridiculous. It is so over the top. It looks like a telenovela. It's got that drama that you find in a telenovela, and it's ridiculous enough and serious enough that the combination works. Kind of like putting together, nine spices.
Putting together your 9 spices.
It's got the 9 herbs and spices.
I could not agree more. This is a genius marketing, not just a marketing move, but this is a genius thing to do. You get not super high profile. It's not like it's, Tom Cruise
Tom
or
Hanks,
Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep starring in this. Can you imagine if Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep starred in this movie? This is giving me a lot. Obviously, was it 10 years ago already when Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig wrote their own Lifetime original movie? But it was like a serious thing. It wasn't like tongue-in-cheek. This is obviously so very tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it is. I also love that Mario Lopez understands the kind of career that he has. Yes, he's an actor. And let's go back to Mario Lopez back in his Saved by the Bell days. If you talk to that Mario Lopez, I'm sure that, his reaction to being an actor is like, no, Saved by the Bell it's just a springboard. It's just a jumping off point. My serious acting career is going to take off. And it never did. I mean, he has a great career. He does.
Sure.
He's doing what, Entertainment Weekly or Entertainment Tonight, one of those two shows. He keeps getting.
He hosted the Miss. Did he host a Miss America pageant? There's the such as video that he was hosting that, and
probably.
Oh yeah, he's had a good career.
He's got a great career.
Had a really good career.
But he also understands the type of career that he has. A Tom Hanks, a Meryl Streep, even Tom Cruise. He is not. I think he wants to be. I think he looks at kind of like a more Vin Diesel type. Vin Diesel also has a very unique career where he's pigeonholed himself into this one very unique genre, and he works very well within that genre. Same thing with Mario Lopez. He understands the kind of career that he has, and if he tries to break out of that, I think he understands he's probably not going to be as successful because people won't take him seriously. This kind of project is perfect for him because he doesn't take himself that seriously because he can't. Whether or not he can or can't, he just doesn't. And This is so silly, so ridiculous, so over the top. I can't wait to see this thing.
I think everyone's going to watch it.
And you make a great point too, Rolland, of in terms of ad marketing. Come on. Yeah. Everybody's going to tune. It's like when Sharknado. Do you remember Sharknado first premiered? Everybody just started going crazy for this thing. It was a phenomenon.
And you know what? Sharknado is probably one of the reasons why Mario Lopez is doing this. He's seen his contemporaries from 90210, and he's seen Ian Ziering's career and everybody else's career, and they're not huge. So it probably was easier for him to go oh, this is where I'm currently at. I'm going to do this job.
I agree. Big question for you guys is have you seen the trailer for Recipe for Seduction? Are you interested in seeing this? Are you excited about this like me and Rolland, or are you just kind of oh, gross, I'm over this? I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know. Okay, guys, our next bit of movie news, a clip. Or rather, let me back up. Chadwick Boseman's career has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, up until his untimely passing due to cancer. But he still has one more film on his slate to come out, and that is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, based on the book by August Rush, I believe. Am I getting that right? Can you fact check me?
Oh yeah, sure.
I believe it's August Rush. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Anyway, so very recently, the film studio in Netflix, I guess, has put out a clip, an exclusive first look clip of Chadwick Boseman in his role playing in forgive me, I don't know anybody's character names within this film. It's a story I'm not all that familiar with, but just seeing his character, there's two things specifically that I want to point out. How fantastic of an actor Chadwick Boseman is, and how that shines through in this specific performance, and also knowing what we know now about Chadwick Boseman. Looking at his physicality concerning his medical condition that he had at the time that nobody knew about. Look at, I probably should have done like a side-by-side comparison, but think of what he looks like in Black Panther. Think of what T'Challa looks like, his physicality. And then look at him in this clip of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And just to see how far his body has deteriorated due to cancer, and nobody knew it. And then you look at the performance that Chadwick Boseman put out. And again, I get it. Granted, it's just a clip. It's a short clip. It's like a minute, like 45 seconds to a minute, something like that. It's very short. But when you look at how happy and how invested he is in what he's doing, and how in a 45-second clip that's been edited to feature other people in this clip as well, man, I don't see how. I'm being very why do words just not come to me when I want them to come to me? Man, well, apologies for not being able to think of what I want to say, but you know, how can he not win an Oscar? How can he not win a posthumous Oscar? I look at this and I just think, wow, what a guy, what an actor, what a true class human being. Rolland, did you have a chance to see the clip?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? And like, where do you stand with like the possibility of a posthumous Oscar? Of course, like we're project hyperbole. That was the word I was looking for. You know, I'm speaking very hyperbolic here, but how can he not win a posthumous Oscar at this point? What are your thoughts?
I watched the clip last night. I thought it was amazing. But the first thing I noticed was, you're right, his physicality. He's so slender compared to the slightly larger T'Challa that we see in Black Panther. And so part of me couldn't let that go. So I ended up having to rewatch the clip a second time to really take it all in. And first of all, it looks like a phenomenal movie. I took a look. It's written by August Wilson. It's based on a play written by August Wilson,
not August Rush. Sorry.
Who also wrote the play Fences, which was turned into a movie, I think last year or 2 years ago with Denzel and Viola Davis, which was great. Yeah. This looks amazing. I totally want to see it. I am never good at picking who wins Oscars. I'm pretty bad at it. So the fact that I don't know probably means that he might win it. But I thought I definitely want to see, who doesn't want to see Chadwick Boseman in his final film?
Oh man, and you know, I think you hit a nail on the head. Who doesn't want to see Chadwick Boseman in his final film? I think people are going to, when I say come out in droves, probably come out to Netflix in droves. I think this is going to be a highly regarded film. I think it's going to be praised quite well. You know, a lot of people praised Da 5 Bloods when it came out. I take my issue with that film. I don't think that it's a very well told story. I think it's a fascinating story. I think it's really, really interesting. The characterizations I don't think were fleshed out very well. The narrative was all over the place. It was all over the place. So from a storytelling perspective, I take a lot of issue with Da Five Bloods, especially having or boasting Chadwick Boseman as the star of the movie. He was barely in it. He was barely in the movie. Yeah. So looking at a film like that is, obviously has Chadwick Boseman in it, that a lot of people were anticipating. I was anticipating Da Five Bloods. I was very excited to go see it. Walking away from it, I didn't have the same feelings that I did going into it. But watching this clip of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, if, as you said, based on the play by August Wilson, I loved Fences. I thought Fences was spectacular. Using that as source material, as long as the narrative stays the same as what the book has been, or the play has been, rather, I think we can expect some pretty cool things here. Do you have any other last thoughts there?
Well, I think it being a play makes a big difference, right? Because especially if it is, if it's not moved far off from the actual play, because a play, they don't have, visual effects and a lot of special effects going on. So it's all about the acting. Maybe there's some sets. So when you take that and put it to the screen and just add on to it, you have these amazing characterizations. You have these really fleshed out characters and problems that might, had it been written solely for film, might have been glossed over or not fleshed out enough. And I think that gives an actor, I would imagine, a lot more grist for the mill and a lot more, fodder to work with. And that maybe, could lead to an Oscar.
Yeah. So many interesting angles to look at this at. The question for you guys is, what do you think? Did you have a chance to see this clip of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom starring Chadwick Boseman? What did you think of it? Does it look like something that is right up your alley? Do you think you're going to go see it? Do you think it's going to have the reception that it deserves? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, speaking of trailers, we talked about trailer number 1, trailer number 2, and now we have a third trailer to talk about. 1990, Best Picture winner of 1990 was Silence of the Lambs. Hugely popular film, so much so that there have been multiple sequels and spin-offs. And now it looks like we're getting another one, which is a direct. This looks like to be the most direct of sequels to Silence of the Lambs. CBS has put out a teaser trailer for its very first look of Silence of the Lambs sequel called Clarice, starring, the titular character of Clarice, surrounding the entire story of Jodie Foster's character from the film. Rolland, I had a chance to check out this trailer, and first of all, it's just an announcement trailer. It's not much of a teaser at all. This looks completely unspectacular to me. I'm interested in seeing it because I'm getting a lot of vibes like Bates Motel. I think Psycho was it might be in my top 5 favorite films of all time. I love Psycho. The TV show Bates Motel was such a great concept. It was not well executed. The relationship between Norman and his mother, I thought, was the most fascinating. If that was the entire show, I would like to see all 5 seasons re-edited where they take everything out except for the relationship between Norman and his mother. And so those are kind of the vibes that I'm getting here with Clarice. It's going to be an in-depth character study of the character of Clarice. In fact, I have no idea of the actor's name that's playing her. But it seems to pick up right from where Silence of the Lambs left off.
Yeah.
Where do you see this going?
Well, I read that it takes place a year after Silence of the Lambs ends. So yeah, you're right. It's a direct spinoff, and a direct sequel. I like the idea of taking Clarice's character and giving us more, but I'm also always wary when you kind of retroactively go back and look at a character that has already existed in a certain moment, because you sometimes end up with TV shows like Krypton.
Yeah.
Like, let's go back and let's find out the history of a character when we don't care so much about the history. So I don't know. I guess it really depends on what they're going to be focusing on, what they're going to be doing with it. What are the interesting things that makes her? Well, this happens after. It's not a prequel. Sorry. Everything I just said is invalid.
It's not completely invalid, because in a television show, you can do that kind of storytelling where you can go back and tell. So Kim and I have been watching a lot of The Americans right now. We never watched it when it first aired, and so now we're like right in the middle of the second season. And how The Americans tells their stories, that yes, everything is happening in like present day, like 1981 present day, right? But then they also do all these flashbacks of like what their life was before they left Russia, that whole thing, and then they cut back. So I mean, they very well could do the same thing with Clarice.
Sure. Yeah, I it's kind of hard to tell. And question for you: when did TV shows get teaser trailers? When did that start?
Oh man, well, I think the better question is when did movie trailers get a 3-second teaser trailer to lead into the actual trailer? I think therein lies a really interesting concept of viral marketing, because I think somebody realized that if somebody is going to watch your video, if somebody's going to click on your video, the average time they'll watch is 3 seconds. Pardon me. They'll stick around for 3 seconds, and if you don't catch them in the first 3 seconds, they'll click away, right? Jeez. So I think that's why we have like the 3-second teaser that like plays before the actual trailer, right? So if you don't grab them in the first 3 seconds, they'll leave. So I think right around the same era that those 3-second trailers started happening, then we kind of start to have this idea of let's do a teaser trailer for television,
Mm-hmm. As you were talking, one thing did pop into my mind specifically about this one. If they deal with some sort of PTSD from dealing with Hannibal Lecter, this could be a very interesting show. If it goes back and it just focuses on her FBI career, and that might not be as interesting, but what she had to go through to kind of get Hannibal's help in the original film, that could lead somewhere really interesting in the show.
I would hope so, because like when you tout this project as a sequel to Silence of the Lambs, starring the main character of the film Silence of the Lambs, you would need like some inevitable fallout from that, wouldn't you?
I would hope so. The thing is, we also don't know if this is going to be a procedural or if it's going to have an arc. We don't know what type of show it's going to be. We don't know if Hannibal Lecter will be playing a role. Will she be needing to go to other, will she have to do miniature versions of Silence of the Lambs to get information? Like, who knows? It's still too early to tell.
Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but did not Hannibal Lecter die at the end of Silence of the Lambs? He did not.
He calls her from a payphone.
Oh, that's right.
And says he's having. I think that's where he says he's having a friend for dinner.
It was Buffalo Bill that died.
I don't remember if he died. He might have.
Spoiler alert. Spoilers. It came out in 1991.
30 years ago.
1990, yeah. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts of the sequel television show called Clarice coming out on CBS? Does it interest you? What kinds of things would you like to see contained in this show? What kind of storytelling? Do you think that it should just be its own thing, as Rolland pointed out, a procedural? Should it have a story arc? Is it going to be villain of the week kind of thing? Where do you stand? What would you like to see from a show like this? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news, hot off the heels of HBO and their crazy, ridiculous announcement. And I will go so far to say it's a ridiculous announcement. Not ridiculous necessarily in a negative sense, but the fact that they're dropping 17 movies over the course of 1 year, one movie every 3 weeks, that's ridiculous. Nobody's ever done that before. It's completely ridiculous. Well, Legendary Pictures has had some things to say about it. Prolific director Christopher Nolan had some very harsh things to say about it. And now Patty Jenkins has thrown her hat into the proverbial ring. She's got some thoughts on this as well. She's like boiled it down to quote, there was no good option. What makes this particular article interesting, or story interesting, is that Patty Jenkins took to social media back in November. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was like early to mid-November. And she was extremely dead set on supporting movie theaters and said, Wonder Woman 1984 is not coming out on streaming. It's not going to happen. We're dedicated. Warner Brothers is dedicated to the theatrical experience. This is what makes the movies, or going to the movies, magical. We need the theatrical experience. Well, Warner Brothers just kind of went off and did whatever it is that they wanted to do. It seems like they already had this plan set, right? So we knew that Wonder Woman 1984 was coming out on streaming on Christmas Day and in theaters on the same day. We already kind of knew that. But now it would appear that Warner Brothers made that first initial announcement full well knowing that they were going to do the entire 2021 catalog on streaming the same day that it's coming out in theaters. And it seems to me like Patty Jenkins had her, like she got pigeonholed a little bit. It seems like she got pigeonholed. She was recently interviewed on Sirius XM. Let's jump in here to the article real quick. She was interviewed on Sirius XM. Shoot, I should have had this. Hold, please. We're figuring this out. Here we go. So here, there's a YouTube clip from Sirius XM where Patty Jenkins and the entire cast of Wonder Woman 84, they're all being interviewed together. And the question was posed to Patty Jenkins of like, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? Where do you stand? How does this work? And it seems like Patty Jenkins kind of went through the process of a little bit of rehearsal. It seems like her answer was a little bit rehearsed. Now, Rolland, you can feel free to disagree with me there, but my initial knee-jerk reaction was that this seemed like a pre-prepared answer. It didn't seem like she was letting her full emotions out of this, which, first of all, consummate professional. If you want to continue to work in this business, you have got to be a consummate professional. You can't throw anybody under the bus, because anytime you throw anyone under the bus, nobody's going to want to work with you for fear that you're going to throw them under the bus. I feel that Christopher Nolan can get away with that because he has the established background behind him to say, like, he is a fantastic filmmaker. Patty Jenkins, also an Academy Award winning filmmaker. However, in the world that we live in, sometimes for some people, it's an uphill climb. It's an uphill struggle. And you are not afforded the opportunity to, you're not afforded the luxury of making crass comments about what you really think and genuinely is the situation. Rolland, you had a chance to check out this clip. At least I think you did. Okay, so you didn't. But so essentially Patty Jenkins was just saying in this interview, in this article, in this video that, you know, Wonder Woman coming out on HBO Max and all the other films coming out on HBO Max, Warner Brothers and HBO Max, they kind of have to do what they have to do. And she goes on to say that what a magical experience, specifically speaking about Wonder Woman, to have this film come out on home video, on streaming, giving everyone the opportunity, as much of an opportunity as possible, to see this incredible film that they feel so passionately about, that they are so 110% behind. Do you think that Patty Jenkins, given her status in Hollywood, maybe should have been a little bit more critical of HBO Max, as opposed to saying, you know what? they had to do what they had to do. There's no good option here. They went with what they thought was best. Or do you think that maybe she should have said something a little similar to Christopher Nolan, being like, you know what? This was kind of a rough thing to do, and it kind of blindsided everybody. Where do you stand?
Well, you're right. I haven't watched the clip, but I think trying to second guess what she should have done, it's kind of hard to do. I mean, Christopher Nolan he's got the clout. You've already alluded to that. And although she is phenomenal, she doesn't necessarily have the clout that he does, so she might not be able to get away with it. There's a lot of directors who would not be able to get away with that. And I think everybody's in a weird situation right now because of the pandemic. Now, if this had happened without the pandemic, I think a lot more people would be up in arms, and I think it would have been easier for a lot of people in the industry to kind of voice their opinion and say why this is bad or this is a horrible thing or I don't agree with it. But I think right now, when theaters are shut, a lot of theaters are shut down. Even if they're open, they're at a small percentage of attendance that they can have. Movies have had to be pushed back and pushed back. Disney tried with Mulan, and I think this is a victim of circumstance. And my guess is she's probably doing what she thinks is the best thing to do under these circumstances. I do hope everything kind of goes back to normal once the world goes back to normal. And I'd like to see Patty Jenkins do more films at that point, and I'd go watch them in the theater. I think it's probably an unfair position that she got put in and had to make the best of it.
I think a lot of people got put into an unfair position. And yeah, to your point, you kind of have to make the best of it. It's a garbage situation all around. It's
right.
A garbage situation that COVID is raging throughout the world. It's a garbage situation that, because there's bigger things at play. I understand that. But, this is a movie talk show and we talk about like
Sure.
all things movie related. So like it sucks that like movie theaters are shut down. It sucks that the ramifications of that is that people are losing their jobs as a result. Like there's a very real possibility that this industry is going to start to crumble from the inside out. And there's not much that we can do about it. So to try and salvage what you can salvage using the technology that we have to salvage, and I keep using the word salvage because I like the word salvage.
It's a good word.
It sucks because in some ways you can't blame HBO Max for doing what they're doing, but in other ways, like what Legendary, their whole point is that they were never given a heads up. They were given a 30-minute heads up before HBO Max made their big announcement.
Wow.
And being that they, specifically Legendary Pictures, they funded the majority of the film Dune, and they funded the majority for the film Kong versus Godzilla. So when you have somebody financially backing your project, but they have no say in distribution, and they have no say in like how it's going to be shown and where it's going to be shown and who it's going to be shown to and all that stuff. You haven't consulted your business partners. They just want a seat at the table. That's their whole argument. They want a seat at the table. So like you went over the head, like again, Christopher Nolan. They kind of went over his head. Not that Christopher Nolan has a say as to how Warner Media is going to run their business, but he is one of your most talented directors. He exclusively works with Warner Brothers. Exclusively. So to see like all of these changes and everything, and Warner, like on the surface, it looks like Warner Media is just steamrolling everyone. It's just a garbage situation. I mean, maybe they could have handled it a little bit better. I don't know.
Well, I'm willing to bet that the fact that HBO Max is starting out, and they're trying to get a bigger piece of the streaming pie, I'm sure they saw this as like a win-win in what is a bad situation, right? They don't have to push back all the movies. They can still get them out and get viewership to go up in HBO Max. And maybe once the year 2021 is over, everything goes back to normal, but the viewership they're hoping will stay the same. I do think what you pointed out might lead to changes in contracts the next time Legendary decides to fund a movie through Warner Brothers, maybe they make sure that the distribution, that they do have a say in it.
Yeah.
That I can picture that happening.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's going to come out of this whole 2020 dumpster fire of a year that is going to change the world forever in all aspects, and that is just one of them. Big question for you guys is how do you think Patty Jenkins handled the situation? Do you think she put her most professional foot forward? Do you think she should have used her celebrity and influence to try and make a change and say something that helps more everyone as opposed to one entity? What do you guys think? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Our next, oh boy, this is, when I first saw this news article, I was like, hang on. What? I almost scrolled right past it. I was scrolling through Collider, seeing what news stories were dropping, and I saw the headline, and I almost scrolled past it. I'm like, hang on, let me take a look at this. This could be even more important and bigger news. Nobody's talking about this right now, but it potentially could be bigger news than HBO Max dropping 17 films in one calendar year. You guys, it looks like HBO Max is going to start running ads. Gah. This goes against everything of what a premium service is. You pay for the premium service of Hulu, guess what? No ads. HBO has always touted itself as a cable service, a premium cable service. Now they have the premium streaming service. You're paying $15 a month for HBO Max. And maybe halfway through next year, they're going to start running ads at the beginning and possibly the middle of your television shows and movies. As this article points out in Collider, let me just read what they have to say. That's right. Right here in the middle of the article. That's right. You may be able to watch The Suicide Squad on your couch when it's slated to debut next summer, but it also might be interrupted by commercials for Color Guard and Flamin' Hot Cheetos. What? No, Rolland, no. This.
They got greedy.
It's a cash grab.
They got greedy, and that the market will balance out, right? People will decide whether they want to live with it or not, and people that don't want to live with it, they won't continue paying their $15 a month. So, that I think is a really easy thing for it to get fixed. The only way I can imagine, there's too many streaming services for us to pay $15 to get ads in the middle of movies where there is no organic break created, right? Because they would have to just find a moment in that movie to break it and put a commercial, completely disturbing the flow of the movie.
I mean, it's also possible that they're not going to put an ad in the middle of a movie. They may just put it at the beginning. And even still, if you're going to run an ad at the beginning of the movie, it's like when you go to the movie theaters and just before the trailers play, you get four commercials for toothpaste or something. That I'm not okay with. It happens, but again, it's kind of become part of the package deal. As you say, people will either acclimate or they will decide with their dollars what they want to have happen. But I feel like history has shown us that, again, Hulu, because Hulu used to be free. Do you remember back in the days when Hulu was free for everybody? I mean, yeah, there were commercials in the middle of whatever episode you wanted to watch, but you didn't need an account to watch Hulu shows on Hulu, and it was all the major networks. It was Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever shows.
But it was also the only game in town.
It was the only game in town.
And now everybody's got their own game. It's like in The Simpsons when the recipe for the flaming Moe got out, and there was flaming Moes on every single and like up and down the street in Springfield. It's the same thing. Now there's all these different places. They're all trying to get as much money as they can, but it's a lot harder now. So, I mean, I see why they're doing it.
But does that justify it? Does that justify it? I mean, I understand why they're doing it, because money. But, oh man, I think this is going to upset a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I can see people not paying, deciding not to pay the $15. There's too many other streaming services for me to have to be, have to deal with commercials if I don't want them.
But if you want to watch Suicide Squad, if you want to watch, I
never want to watch Suicide Squad.
Sorry, if you want to watch The Suicide Squad. Okay. Let me clarify, 2 very different entities. But yeah, like, I mean, if you want to watch like any of these big blockbuster films, you're gonna have to pay the $15 for HBO Max and suffer through some of the ads that happen. I mean, probably not in the middle of a film, but maybe at the beginning and maybe at the end, Well,
let's say you say they drop one movie every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And you're paying $15 a month. So in a given month, you might watch at most, let's say 2 new movies, right? Let's just say. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that wouldn't those movies still be available for rent somewhere?
No.
Or they're not? They would just be HBO Max?
Exclusively in movie theaters and HBO Max, period. And they're only available for 31 days. So when Wonder Woman comes out on HBO Max on Christmas Day, it's also coming out in movie theaters, but it's only available on HBO Max for 31 days. Who knows? Like, obviously, they're going to take it down after 31 days. It may come back in 6 months. It may go out onto VOD at some point. Like, that's the big question mark there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends how much you're willing to wait, right? Are you somebody who, when a new video game comes out, you have to pay the $51 or $50 to get it, or do you wait a year and you buy it for $25?
It's true.
What type of person are
you? Big question for you guys is first of all, have you heard of HBO Max? Pardon me. HBO Max possibly running ads at the beginning or possibly during their films, their upcoming slate. Are you fine with this? Are you okay with it? Does it not bother you that much? Or are you a little bit more teed off like me and like, whoa, pump your hate brakes, Thanos. Stop it. What are your thoughts? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know what those are. All right, guys, our last news story of the day. This dropped midday yesterday, and it was after the show, so I didn't have a chance to address it. This is mammoth. This is the news story that I've been waiting to talk about ever since I heard about it yesterday. Alfred Molina is reprising his role as Dr. Octopus in the upcoming Tom Holland Marvel Studios glory pick, Spider-Man 3, currently untitled. I could not be more thrilled. It looks like Rolland, it looks like you could not be more upset.
I loved Alfred Molina in that role. He's great in anything he does, but Spider-Man 2 was amazing 90% because of him. I'm just upset over the fact that they went ahead and advertised that instead of leaving it as a surprise.
Same thing with Jamie Foxx.
It would have been amazing to, of course, there's commercials and stuff, but I try and actually avoid commercials for movies that I want to see. It would have been amazing to go to the theater and see Alfred Molina come back as Doc Ock. Assuming that we get to go to the theaters ever again.
Oh, man.
But if we're just looking at the content, yeah, he was great. Yeah, why wouldn't we want to see him?
Point, how cool would that have been? Because right now it's heavily rumored that not just rumored, at this point, with this kind of news dropping, that Alfred Molina is coming back. Because here's the thing. If you clicked on this video and you're like, oh, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock is going to appear in Spider-Man 3. here are the implications, right? We have Marvel Studios, who has created their own universe. In this universe, Tom Holland plays Spider-Man. Before this universe was created, we had two other completely separate entities of Spider-Man movies. We had the Sam Raimi Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. And then we had the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. None of these universes have ever had anything to do with each other. There has never been any crossover, not even so much as like in the Batman movies where Alfred plays the butler in all the different Batman movies.
Right.
Like those movies are not connected in any way, shape, or form. It's just the same actor plays Alfred in all the different Batman movies. So they're not connected.
This might be a little bit of a fallout from Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. Or even Flashpoint a little bit.
I think probably more Spider-Verse, the animated Spider-Verse film, because that movie had such a massive reaction. People reacted so passionately to Sony's animated Into the Spider-Verse film. It's such a great, first of all, it's a non-Peter Parker story, which I think people want to see. And it opened us up to this possibility of like, what else is out there? Like, what other crazy, fun, fantastical things can we do? And especially when you're talking about the movies, let's go back to the inception of the MCU for a second, right? So we have Iron Man 1.
Yep.
We have the Incredible Hulk. We have Iron Man 2. We have Thor, and then we have Captain America. Every single one of those films, like it's arguably the Incredible Hulk is the weakest of those 5 films. But what they were building had never been attempted before. Not only had it never been accomplished, it had never even been attempted, because to create all these separate entities and then combine them all into one major film, The Avengers, was insane. It was crazy. There's no way you can pull that off.
It was so much so that it was even part of the narrative of the Avengers movie itself, that no one thought that this group of people could actually accomplish anything, right? That they didn't, that's why they decided, the people in charge decided to send a missile to New York, because they didn't think the Avengers would be able to do it. Which is the in-universe idea of these movies would never be able to be joined at once. Like, it was amazing.
I never thought about that, but wow. Yeah, that's totally true.
I wish I had come up with that. I read it somewhere. I can't take credit.
But now, when the MCU needs to continually reinvent itself, like, we knew the multiverse was coming, okay, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, we knew that was coming. We still don't really know what that's going to look like or feel like. But now with these news bombs coming out, Alfred Molina is Doc Ock. So, like, from the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, we have Jamie Foxx from the Amazing Spider-Man films with Andrew Garfield.
Electro.
As Electro, yeah.
Right.
And now they're all coming together in this central storytelling vehicle that is the MCU. They're opening this up into other narratives, into other worlds, other aspects. You want to do the Sinister Six? This is an easy way to do the Sinister Six without doing the Sinister Six, right? You just, like, Doctor Strange opens up wormholes here and there. Yep, here we are. I have a feeling that none of these villains are going to be the central villain. There's a lot of talk that Mephisto is going to be the villain of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's possible he could make an early appearance in the Spider-Man film, in Spider-Man Home 3, Home Cooking, Home Fries, Spider-Man Home Fries. Who knows who the actual central villain is going to be? We know Kraven the Hunter is getting his own standalone film in the Sony universe. We already have Venom. We have Venom 2, which is yet to come out. We have the Morbius movie, which is yet to come out. We know Kraven the Hunter is getting his whole thing. There is so much. Do you remember back when I think it was a D23. Just before D23, there was this big announcement that Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures have severed ties with each other. Spider-Man will no longer be in the MCU, and Tom Holland came out on stage during D23, and all he said was, "Thanks, guys. It's been a really fun ride. Thank you for your support." And he didn't say the word Spider-Man. He didn't reference anything specifically. Like, he was there to promote the movie Onward, the animated film Onward. Pixar film, and he didn't make any specific references. He just said, "Hey guys, thanks a lot." And then this whole news story broke about how he cried over the phone to not Alan Horn, but Bob Iger, and Bob Iger had a change of heart and renegotiated a deal with Sony. Bullpucky. The CEO of Disney does not take instructions from an actor. Period. That's not how companies are run. This was a giant PR thing. It was such a big PR thing. They got Bob Iger in on it to bring Sony and Disney together, Marvel Studios, to collaborate on a new mega idea franchise. This Spider-Verse thing, or rather this multiverse thing, I think is going to be bigger than any of us even realize. I think this is just just a taste. I think they're just giving us a taste as to what the ramifications and implications are for not just a Spider-Verse, but the multiverse.
Well, I hope it doesn't get too unwieldy. I hope that the writers are able to handle and do a good job of it. And I will say, I'm more of a TV person than I am a movie person, and I watch all of the superhero shows on the CW. And I made a big day of watching the Crisis on Infinite Earths 5-part crossover. And I tried to stay away from all the news letting me know who was going to be in it. And I was shocked and yelled out loud. I screamed like a little kid when what's his name? The Flash. It's the Flash from the movies.
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. When Ezra Miller showed up as one of the cameos, and if that had been ruined for me, I wouldn't have had that great moment. I hope that if they do this, if they start going with the multiverse and they start getting all these little cameos and stuff, that they don't give all of them out to us before the movie actually comes out. Because it would take away so much of the impact.
It really would. And I think that's what, because, Jamie Foxx tweeted out something like, "Hey, all the different Spider-Mans in one movie," or something like that. And then, 10 minutes later, the tweet was taken down, but the damage had been done, right? So, I mean, it's rumored. It has not been confirmed. It's heavily rumored that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will be making appearances.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
But yeah, it would really be great to see that.
Another big concern with this is that there are going to be too many characters in this film. We've seen that happen time and time and time again, where you try to pack too many people into one narrative story and it just becomes bogged down. And
yes, but when we've seen that happen, it hasn't been in the MCU. The MCU managed to do the Avengers, Infinity War, Captain America Civil War, Endgame, and those are huge numbers of characters. And they did it justice. They did a great job. I'm in the capable hands of the MCU. I think I would expect that to go well versus giving it to Sony and letting them do what they did with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and with Spider-Man 3 in the Sam Raimi era.
In that same vein, I would love to get a dollar bill that has Kevin Feige's face on it instead of George Washington that says, "In Kevin Feige, I trust." Because that's how I feel. I feel like with Kevin Feige at the helm, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's building, and he knows what he's building towards. This whole move towards Disney Plus and the smaller screen and storytelling, I think is a genius move. Dare I say, prophetic in a certain sense, given the state of the world that we're in. Of course, there was no writing on the wall. There was no way to anticipate a worldwide pandemic. However, seeing that we're able to get this level of storytelling on the small screen, which will bleed into the big screen, which will bleed back into the small screen, and, one thing will just feed the next, I think it's genius.
Now, see, that's what we all thought was going to happen when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came on the air.
Yeah.
And when Netflix had their Defenders, the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and all that. And it didn't really happen. That feeding back and forth didn't happen. I think it would be amazing if it does happen, and I think MCU could do it. I just don't know if they're going to do it.
I think the closest thing to that ever happened was, didn't Maria Hill, Lady Sif, and Sam Jackson at one point make minor appearances in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And it was just...
very minor, bloop. Yeah. But that was not, yeah.
That was it.
And in the and they made allusions to like Hulk in Daredevil. I think they have a newspaper clipping of Hulk smashing stuff. Yeah. But that was it. There were no rewards for people who were watching everything.
No, and that's not taking anything away from Daredevil. I think The Punisher is the best of the Netflix Defenders television shows. I think Daredevil is close second, followed by Jessica Jones, and then we'll just forget about the other three.
I like Luke Cage.
The first half of the first season of Luke Cage was brilliant. Second half of the first season was garbage, and the entire second season was garbage.
I would have liked to see where it went in the third season. And the Defenders was awful.
It was terrible. Oh, it was so bad.
It was terrible.
It was so bad. Anyway, really guys, big question for you is, what implications do you think Alfred Molina popping up as Dr. Octopus in the Spider-Man Home Fries is going to be? Do you think he's going to have a major role? Do you think he's going to have a minor role? Is it going to be a cameo? Are we getting all excited for a cameo? It's possible. It is very possible. What are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know what those are. All right, guys, so we have reached the portion of the show where we're going to jump in and take some of your live questions. You've been firing in some live comments and questions all show long, so let's jump in and take some of those.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Questions all show long, so let's jump in and take some of these questions. Our first comment comes from William Zimmerly, and William says, in reference to our very first news story of the day with Mario Lopez, he says, the original Chicken Man. Yeah, Mario Lopez is playing Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken as the original Chicken Man. I don't know. This just seems such a crazy idea. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. And I'm also glad that this Lifetime original movie is not a full-length feature. Because as like a 45-minute episode, I guess, I am much more prone to seeing what this is going to be without the drudgery of having to sit through like an hour and a half worth of storytelling. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
My last thought is, how have we not talked about his hair and how it's all frosted and the little freaking bow tie
and the glasses? He has like the same glasses, but it's still great. Like a muscly shirt, so it has like it shows off his best features, right?
Is he old? Is he young?
Who knows? Who cares?
Then again, the Mario Lopez is a perfect person to play. Is it old or is he young? The guy does not seem to age. It's amazing.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Matthew Wiles says, watching the trailer for Chadwick's film made me quite emotional. Yeah, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom looks like such a great movie. I'm really excited to see it. And also, like, knowing what... It always changes the viewing experience when you know the fate of a certain actor. And this is, like, their last film. I remember watching the last movie that Robin Williams ever made. I believe it was the Christmas movie, Merry Friggin' Christmas. Not a good movie. It's actually not great. But there's something charming about just knowing that this was his last performance. This is the last thing that he's ever professionally put out there. And it's... Yeah, it just kind of makes you think a little bit, and and make you connect with the story maybe a little bit more. I don't know. Roland?
I mean, I'm going to watch it, and I do think we're allowed to feel emotional over actors. You know, they whether we like it or not, they end up playing such a big part in our life. We let them into our life so often that I think watching a film and letting that emotional aspect of the real world of his passing actually be a part of why you're watching it in your own experience of watching the movie. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, I'm going to watch it.
Matthew Weil says, Clarice looks crap. No one cares unless she is now going to be a cannibal. She was a policewoman, so it will just be NCIS. Silence of the Lambs. Maybe. I mean, that's what CBS is kind of known for doing, is like all of their like Crime of the Week shows. And maybe this will just be Silence of the Lambs themed Crime of the Week show. I hope not. I hope there's a stronger narrative there. That's not what CBS is known for, but I don't know. They might surprise us. Especially like if this is coming out on CBS All Access or Paramount Plus, as the name is being changed. I don't know. It could be. We'll see. Matthew Weil says, is HBO Max the big evil now? Is it owned by Trump? I'm not going to touch the second part of that comment, but is HBO Max the big evil now? Today. It is today. I don't think... Because again, like, it's a business, it's a company, it's a corporation. Is this the Roxxon Corporation? No. And if you don't get that reference, Google it.
Is it the Umbrella
Corporation?
Corporation?
Is the Umbrella Corporation? No. If you don't get that reference, Google it. But today they are. And for the next week they will be. And possibly for the next month. Until Disney comes out with an announcement similar to this, and I'm very certain that they will, and many other streaming services will also come out with very similar announcements. Yeah, man, I think this is just the way the world is headed.
Here's one way of looking at it. First of all, I think the streaming services, especially those with not Netflix, but those where actually they create the huge content like Disney and like Warner Brothers, I think they were playing chicken. I think it was if they didn't do it, Disney was going to do it. They needed to jump on it before. So I think there was that element of chicken. I do think. I do hope that once kind of the world goes back to normal, we can go back to this new stuff. And I think by not letting all their old movies accumulate right into this huge stack of films that they had to, like, they're getting all these movies out there for 2021 rather than pushing them to 2022. Yeah. And now we can start going production on newer films. I think there may have been some good to it. I just hope it isn't a fork in the road for the entire industry and we now all go in a different direction.
I mean, I think that's what we all hope. I don't think we, as a collective group of people, I don't think any of us really want this to be the new normal, but I think it will be the new normal. I think it will be.
You saw Endgame in the theaters?
I did.
Do you remember how did the audience react when? Can I give spoilers here?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Spoilers for Avengers Endgame. If you haven't seen it by now, the movie is well over a year and a half old. So, yeah. Yeah.
So, how did the audience react when Mjolnir lifted up into the air and went to Captain America?
I thought you were gonna talk about Tony Stark's death, but yes, because let me preface my comments by saying that we all anticipated either Cap was going to die or Tony Stark was going to die. We knew a major character was going to die, right? But none of us anticipated Captain America wielding Mjolnir. Nobody saw that coming.
And the audience went nuts, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in every theater I saw it, and the audience went nuts. Imagine what that would have felt like if you're watching it at home.
You'd been robbed.
Even with another person.
You would have been robbed of that experience.
Thank you. And that is why, and I think we as human beings, I think we want that collective experience. I hope that even if the industry tries to push it in this direction for ease and for money, I like to think that we as a collective group of people will kind of drift them back into the way things are.
Here's what I was saying on the show yesterday is that movie theaters will never die. I don't think that they will ever completely go away. I think that movie theaters will become a very niche industry. And as I pointed out on the show yesterday, I hate people who use the word niche. It is so annoying to me, but there is not a better word for this particular instance, right? Movie theaters will become a very niche thing. I think you're also giving the general viewing audience too much credit. I do. I think people are lazy by general, and major movie fans like you and me, we will always continue to go to the theater. I think the majority of people, the majority of the viewing audience or movie-going audience, in a general sense, are lazy. People just want to see the movie. They don't care if it's on a 2D screen. They don't care if it's on a 3D screen. They don't care if it's on IMAX or Dolby. They just want to see the movie. And if they can see the movie in the comfort of their own home, in the ease of HBO Max or Disney Plus or whatever streaming service, I think people just want to see the movie. And check it off their list. Years ago, there was a girl that I dated who went, when we were talking about like all the Marvel movies, she's like, oh, I hate comic book movies. Oh, gross. No, I've never watched that. But she went on to say that like, oh, but I did see Black Panther. Okay, cool. Well, like, why did you want to see Black Panther? Oh, it was because it's an important film. And I don't want to take away from anyone else's experience. Like, if you want to see a movie because you feel that it's an important film, cool. But you and I have very different ideologies in that sense. Like, I love this universe. I love everything that they had built up. And when I went to go see Black Panther, I acknowledged, yes, this is an important film, but that's not why I'm going to go see it. I'm in this universe. I'm in this world, right? I'm invested. I love this stuff. And I only bring that up as an example because to her, she just wanted to see the film and be part of a larger discussion, right?
Sure.
And I think that is the movie-going audience in general, is that people just kind of want to see the story. Yeah, I love the Avengers movies, but yeah, I don't need to see it in theaters. If I can see it at home, yeah, I'd prefer to see that at home.
Well, the first 10 minutes of Up, Pixar's Up, I was in the movie theater sitting next to a bunch of strangers, tears streaming down my face. And me thinking, all right, don't touch the tears. Just let them fall. Don't let these people know that you're crying. Like, I mean, it was awful. And I don't think I would have had that experience if I'd been watching this at home. However big my television might be. And I don't want to be, as you said, robbed. I don't want to be robbed of those experiences.
Same. I mean, I had a very similar experience. I've only ever seen one 9/11 movie and that was Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. And there was not a dry eye in that entire thing. Like, everybody was just sobbing, just completely sobbing. Oh, and even same thing. Scary movies. A scary movie is meant to be seen with other people, in a big group of other people. You go to the theater and, the killer slashes the knife and everybody jumps and screams and popcorn flies in the air. And there's this huge release of energy in the form of laughter. It's just, everybody does it.
Did you see Final Destination?
No, I don't watch scary movies.
Oh, okay. I went to go see Final Destination. Spoiler, this is also from like 15, 20 years ago, whatever. There was a scene where someone's talking and they're like, I'm not going to let death get in the way. Bam, gets hit by a bus. And it's like immediately out of nowhere gets hit by a bus. Everyone in the theater screamed, and then we all laughed because we were all screaming together. And like, there's no way in hell I would have had that moment if I'd watched it by myself.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. And so I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose.
And like I said, I don't think we're ever going to lose the movie-going experience entirely, But I do think that the landscape is about to change in a very big and very real way. As you say, people are going to vote with their money with HBO Max. Are they going to be okay with ads being put on, the beginning of a movie? Or are they going to cancel their subscription? I think the same way, history is going to show which path we're going to take. Are we going to go back to what we've always known? Jonathan Pitts. He was on the show, creator of the Chicago Improv Festival.
I actually don't know.
Well, I thought you did. So Jonathan Pitts was on the show, and he was saying that we're very social creatures. We're very social human beings. The movie theater going experience, social activities will never go away. It's just they're not going to look the same as they do now. So, so is HBO Max the big evil now? Maybe.
I like what you said. Today
it is.
I like that answer.
Today it is. Matthew Wiles says, I'm worried about Spider-Man 3. Seems a lot of fan service and a huge amount of baddies. Whoa, this just refreshed. Hold on. I'm worried about Spider-Man 3. Seems a lot of fan service and a huge amount of baddies. Is Doc Ock or Electro going to get any screen time? LOL. Yeah, they will. But I think, Rolland, you addressed this point pretty well. I forgot what the point was.
I had said earlier that MCU has handled it really well with the Infinity War saga. Having a huge number. I wouldn't trust Sony to do it properly because they haven't been able to do it properly yet.
Well, I don't think that these are going to be the only two villains in the movie. They can't be.
Right, you're thinking that right.
They can't be.
We'll see what happens. I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I have a theory that Mysterio is coming back. I don't think he actually died. But hey, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, Rolland, as you say,
I remember that the announcement of the severing of ties between MCU and Sony happened right after Far From Home came out, right? Which ends in a way that has such huge repercussions for Spider-Man in the MCU. And all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, I remember freaking out going, we're never going to see what happens after, J. Jonah Jameson played that clip. We're never going to see, we can't see the characters interacting anymore. It's just
and that was so massive. Even that, even J. Jonah, and we're all stuck talking about Alfred Molina and we're talking about Jamie Foxx, but we kind of stopped talking about J. Jonah Jameson popping up in Spider-Man Far From Home. So
J.K. Simmons is one of my 3 favorite J.K.s. Simmons, Rowling, and Just Kidding. Horrible joke. I apologize if you're still watching this and you just heard that joke. I apologize.
How do I turn your video
take it back.
off? How do you... whatever.
Sorry about
that. Matthew Wiles goes on to say, Into the Spider-Verse is Nicolas Cage's best movie since Con Air.
I really like Next.
Ooh, really?
I really did. I've seen it twice. I really like it.
Did Gone in 60 Seconds come out after Con Air? I think it did.
Did it?
Hold on. Now I have to look this up. Bear with me, everybody. Hold on. Nicolas Cage. Not Nocc. There it is. Okay, so he's known for a whole ton of stuff. Wow, he's been in 106 projects. Can you believe it? Okay, I am sorry, guys. So Next came out in 2007, just in case anybody wanted to know. Ghost Rider, we're going backwards in time. Ghost Rider, The Wicker Man. Wicker Man wasn't bad. World Trade Center, The Ant Bully, Weatherman, Lord of War. National Treasure was actually really fun.
I really enjoyed that.
Matchstick Men was really good. Adaptation was fantastic. The Wind Talkers. Captain Corelli's Mandolin. I forgot about that movie. The Family Man. Gone in 60 Seconds was the year 2000.
Okay.
8mm, great. Snake Eyes, 1998. Oh,
Wow.
Snake Eyes, what a great film. Hey,
Was that a heist film? It was sort of a heist film, right?
no, it was like a
It was a conspiracy.
it was a
some
crime
conspiracy.
mystery.
Don't
It was
ruin
a crime
it.
mystery.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna see it.
so there's.
You just reminded me of that.
Oh man, yeah. If you guys haven't seen Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage, that's a fantastic movie. Face Off was 1997. Con Air was also 97. The Rock was 96. So you say it's his best movie since Con Air. I disagree. I mean, yeah, Into the Spider-Verse was fantastic, but
It's great.
I would argue Gone in 60 Seconds, man. Oh man, I love that so much.
Yeah, I never saw it because it came out the same time as Fast and the Furious. So
Gone in 60 Seconds?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
You know, you can watch more than one film in a year.
Yeah, but I saw, A Bug's Life and Ants the same year, and let's just say I enjoyed one more than the other, and I learned my
Fair.
lesson. You know?
Matthew Weil says, "Do you want William Dafoe back as Green Goblin?" Yeah.
Yeah, it's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, like, I don't think that any of these villains and I am confident that there will be more villains coming out and making appearances in this film. I mean, I don't think it's that far of a stretch of the imagination to say that Michael Keaton will be coming back as Vulture. He's already established in the MCU. So yeah, why wouldn't he? So if they can get all these other people back, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the Green Goblin come back with William Dafoe. Not the James Franco Green Goblin, and definitely not in the same costume that he was wearing. But yeah, of course, I would love to see that. That'd be great. Matthew Weil says, the cinema experience is so different in the UK when Captain America lifted Mjolnir. Spelling check, please. I know what you meant. In the UK, it was very different when Captain America lifted Mjolnir. I know everyone was excited, but there was no noise, LOL. Did people really erupt in cinema in the United States? Us, Britain?
Us
Britons.
Britons.
Got it. Us Britons would like to be calmed. Calmed down. Shush, I'm trying to watch here. So yeah, Americans, if you haven't noticed, we're a loud, rowdy bunch.
That's what makes us the ugly travelers abroad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's that loud.
I'm
a lot more quiet when I'm traveling.
All the stereotypes. Yeah, they're true. They're all true. Yep. Don't go in there. Oh, why did you go in there? I told you not to do that. Yeah, that's all true. Yes, we all do it. Of course, like if you're in a movie theater with one annoying person, everybody will turn around and shush them. I actually remember so I saw Casino Royale for the first time in 2006 when it came out in Dublin. I was in Dublin. I was on vacation with a friend of mine. We had to go see Casino Royale. Like, it's Casino Royale. It's James Bond. You have to go see it.
Sure.
And where better to go see it than in like a non-United States territory that once was associated with the UK. So, of course, yeah. So we're in Dublin. We're watching Casino Royale, and of course, I understand the Irish are a different bunch from the English. However, you know that scene in the movie when Bond is at when he's at the card table and his drink gets poisoned and he starts to realize it and he fumbles out to his car and he puts the defibrillator on and he doesn't hit the defibrillator quite in time and then he passes out. Well, then Vesper comes over and she's like, oh, I need to rehook all these wires and then push the thing, and then he comes back to life. And the very first thing that he said, do you remember what this was? He looks at Vesper and he says, are you okay? He just came back to life. He just had been resuscitated, and his first thought was to say, are you okay? The entire theater in Dublin erupted with laughter. Every single time I watch that movie, and it's my favorite Bond film to date. I adore Casino Royale. Every single time that scene pops up in that movie, in my mind, I always go back to what my reaction was in Ireland watching it, where everybody erupted with laughter. And that has never been replicated. Rolland, to your point, seeing movies in the theaters, having this collective social experience when Cap wields Mjolnir and everybody just loses their minds. This is what is important. These, like, again, every single time I watch Avengers Endgame, and I've seen it a few times, and I see that scene, I always think about the eruption of, like, what? People losing their minds. You watch it at home, you're not going to have that same reaction. You're not going to remember these moments. It's the moments that I want to remember, you know? Anyway, yes, we are a rowdy bunch. Matthew Weil says, we do laugh. Did I skip one? No.
No,
we do
right.
laugh and cry quietly, but no one screams or applauds until the end. Oh man, I need to come to the United States to see a film. Will be hilarious or annoying for my British sensibilities. It might be, but
could be annoying.
It's a completely different experience. I remember when Spider-Man Homecoming first came out, I had some friends, some improv friends from Estonia staying with me. And the cultural differences between the United States and Estonia are pretty big. Just a little bit. So when they came over, I was like, you guys have to see Spider-Man Homecoming in not just an American movie theater, but in a Dolby AMC theater, lay flat seats, 4K television screen, 4K screen, surround sound, Dolby Atmos. It was an experience that they just don't have in Estonia. And they were on the fence. They're like, why come to New York for a couple of weeks just to go to a movie? And I was like, yes, true. I understand what you're saying, but you were not going to get the same experience back in Estonia. I promise you, you will not. And after the movie was over, they looked at me and they're like, that was a good experience. We're glad we did this.
Great.
That's so great. It's just different, man.
I will say, when Endgame came out, my girlfriend and I were in Italy for a wedding. I was best man at a wedding in Italy. Cool. And it came out, and we're like, we have to. I know we're in Italy, but we have to go see Endgame. And we found a theater that plays it, not dubbed, but in the original version, English version. And they were rowdy. Like that was the group that I saw with that we all erupted. So it does happen in other places. It's not just. Then again, it could have been a bunch of Americans.
Well, also, I mean, like, even
traveling.
if you don't want to leave the UK, I'm sure that there are certain theaters in London that have very similar experiences. When you go to a region that's a little bit more eclectic,
sure, a little more cosmopolitan.
Yeah, people tend to be a little bit more vocal in their thoughts and opinions, and sometimes that bleeds over into entertainment, and it can either make or break your experience. Because again, look at Rocky Horror Picture Show. If people weren't as vibrant of human beings as they are, the Rocky Horror Picture Show experience wouldn't even be a thing. People wouldn't go to midnight showings of Rocky Horror.
Just to watch the movie.
Yeah. Because I think we can all agree it's not a great movie. Same thing with The Room, with Tommy Wiseau. Terrible movie. To watch it all by yourself, no thanks, I'm good. But the reason we keep watching this over and over and over again is that social collective experience. It's such a bad movie, we can all enjoy it together.
I saw Spaceballs the first time by myself, and it was awful.
Oh, yeah.
And the second time I saw it with a bunch of people, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. Yeah. And it really was just a matter of like me by myself and me with a group of people.
I agree. And our last comment comes from Julian Lygill, a former student of mine, former improv student. Julian, how you doing, sir? Julian says, going to the movies is more than just going to watch the movie. I agree. There's a lot more to the phrase, let's go to the movies. There's the drink before, the dinner after, the trailers, a real reason to go out, watch the film, and then chat about it. You watch a movie at home, and the next thing is, what are we going to watch next?
Yeah, that's the chatting about it's a really good point.
I've heard it put in the past that going on a date to the movies is the perfect date experience because you have an activity and then you have something to discuss afterwards. If you go to dinner first and then you go to the movie, you're doing it wrong. You go to the movie first and then you go to dinner afterwards, and now you have two shared experiences, and you get to discuss everything of what just happened.
That is a really good. I'm going to break up with my girlfriend so I can go on a date and do that, because I've been doing it wrong all these years.
Oh no.
Oops.
I leaned back a little too far, and Hawkeye just fell right off. Maybe that's serendipity. Maybe we need a little bit more Hawkeye in our lives, you guys. Side note, and I hate admitting this, but this particular figure of Hawkeye, just go ahead and look at the level of detail he has on him. This is one of the most expensive figures I have in my collection. I'm embarrassed at how much I paid for this figure. $98. I paid $98 for this figure.
That's way more than I was expecting it to be.
But I also needed to finish the collection, so and it was the highest quality figure that went in the collection, so I needed to do it. But yeah, that wraps us up. Julian, I could not agree more. You need that experience. You need people. You need something to do. Be active. I love what you said. Like, you have the drink before. It's a whole experience. You have the dinner after. When you're sitting at home, it's how true is that? Like I remember when The Five Bloods came out. I was so looking forward to seeing that movie. We turned it on. We watched it, and then we went to bed. That was it. Meh. But yeah, I want to preserve this experience, as I'm sure, Rolland, you do as well. And guys, this brings us to the end of our show today. That's pretty much it. We've talked about everything that we're going to talk about today. Thank you so much for sending in comments, sending in questions, keeping the discussion going, keeping movie loving alive. I would like to extend a huge thank to my guest today, Mr. Rolland Lopez. Rolland, where can people find you online, and what projects do you have coming up in the near future?
I'm part of a duo called an improv duo called Rolland and Riches. That's ROLLIN in Riches. If you go to our YouTube channel without the apostrophe, Rolland and Riches, I have a series. If you're an improviser, I have a series of videos called "There's Great Improv Everywhere," where I take a team's show and I will play certain clips and draw lessons from that and show you why these are great examples of really good improv.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. A new one's dropping tomorrow. So, that's it right now, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, one more.
Nope, sorry, time's up. Goodbye.
Oh, I blew it. This Saturday, if you're an improviser watching this Saturday, we have Rolland Riches, we're hosting our first improv salon. We've got 5 phenomenal teachers. We've got Annie O'Connor, Denzel Bellin, Kareem Bader, Luana. Oh, I should have planned this ahead of time. I'm going to get her last name wrong, so I'm just going to say Luana. I apologize. And Jay Suko. The 5 of them are going to be doing doing different talks on the subject of Elevate the Game. It's kind of like a TED Talk for improv.
Cool.
That's happening this Saturday. It's free. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. All you have to do is register, and you can find the information on our Facebook page at Rolland and Riches.
And having performed with Kareem Badar, woof, what a powerhouse that guy is. Just genius. He actually changed my improv game years ago. It helped me to enjoy the art form and the storytelling form a little bit more. All of those links can be found down in the description below, so definitely check those out. Rolland, thank you so much for being on the show and just chit-chatting movies and all that stuff. All that jazz, as they say.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys, if you like this video, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Hawkeye from the Avengers would want you to do. Yeah, Avengers. All right, guys, my name is Mike Brown. This is Gotta Love Them Movies, your daily dose of movie news. Thanks so much for joining us today. We live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse a little kindness into the world, please take that opportunity. If you have an opportunity to speak kind words to each other, please take that opportunity. And as always, in the words of Bill, woof! Did you hear that? Did you hear me just burp? Excuse me. Be excellent to each other. I'll see you guys tomorrow.